In this video, I'm going to show you how to load film into the Olympus OM10. I'll share some tips for shooting with this camera and I'll show you some photos that I've taken with it. So whether you're new to film photography or you've just picked up this camera, in this video I'm going to show you everything you need to know from loading to shooting. First of all, let's check the batteries. To do that, switch the power switch over to check and you'll hear a high-pitched beep if the batteries are okay. If the batteries need changing, you'll find the battery compartment on the bottom of the camera. The Olympus OM10 takes two SR44 batteries. Let's pop them back in and we'll get on with loading the film. To start loading the film, switch your camera on, open up the rewind knob, pull it upwards and that will open the back door. Place the film cartridge into the left hand side of the camera so the film can be pulled across the shutter curtain towards the right. When placing the film into the take-up spool, make sure that the teeth on the take-up spools go into the sprocket holes so the film can advance correctly. Gently rewind the film to make sure that it falls into place and has enough tension to be advanced correctly. Advance the film using the film advance lever. Bearing in mind you may need to fire the shutter first, check that the sprockets are still grabbed by the teeth and check that the film has been gripped by the take-up spool. Close the door, fire the shutter and advance the film once more, checking that the rewind lever also turns as you advance the film. Repeat this process until the exposure counter indicates that you're at the first frame. To set the film speed, lift up the outer ring on this dial and turn it so it matches the film speed of what you've just loaded into your camera. Once you've shot through your roll of film, to rewind the film, turn the rewind dial towards the OM10 logo. Open up the rewind lever and turn it in the direction of the arrow on the inside of the lever. The film will feel like it's got some tension at first as it's been rewound from the take-up spool. Eventually that tension will go and you know that the film is almost completely rewound. Give it a few more turns just to be sure and then you can lift up the rewind lever to open the back of the camera and remove the film. Now you've seen how to load film into the Olympus OM10 and check the battery, I'm going to share some tips for getting started with using it. The Olympus OM10 is an aperture priority automatic camera, meaning that in the auto mode, if you set the aperture to your chosen depth of field, the camera will select the shutter speed. I would highly recommend picking one of these up if you haven't already with the manual adapter. It means you can switch the camera over to manual mode and shoot full manual. When you look through the viewfinder on the left hand side, you'll see a list of the shutter speeds and a small red dot will highlight which shutter speed the camera is choosing. In aperture priority mode, it tells you which shutter speed it's going to shoot with. In manual mode, with the manual adapter, it tells you which shutter speed it wants you to shoot with. If you set the aperture to a required depth of field and you just want to keep the aperture at that point, you'll need to adjust the shutter speed on the manual adapter to what it says in the viewfinder for correct exposure. If the shutter speed it's suggesting in the viewfinder is way too low, you may need to open up the lens to let in more light. Alternatively, you might have to use a flash or a tripod. If you want to shoot this camera at a specific shutter speed using the manual adapter, set the shutter speed on the adapter and look through the viewfinder and you'll have to change the aperture until the red dot hits the shutter speed that you want to shoot at, and that's how you'll get correct exposure in full manual mode. So now we've got the basics down for shooting with the Olympus OM10, I'm going to show you some of my favourite photos that I've taken with this camera. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll link you to some more videos of me shooting with the Olympus OM10 at the end of this video, because I've created a playlist of my favourite shoots using this camera. So be sure to check that out, and I'll see you in the next video.